Hello, Informal Geometry folks, and welcome to the second week of online distance learning. Man, do I miss being at Bismarck High and seeing your beautiful faces. I hope you are all safe and healthy, and hopefully we will get to see you again soon. Alrighty, so if you would get your notebook out or your notes, whichever you have in front of you, we will get started. So today we're going to talk about 45, 45, 90 right triangles. Our essential question is, can you find the missing side of a 45, 45, 90 triangle? So first of all, we should probably talk about what a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Well, it's one angle is 90 degrees and two angles are 45 degrees. And so it looks like this. Two 45-degree angles, okay, and a 90-degree angle. Now remember that if we have two base angles that are the same, which in this case they're both 45, the sides are the same. The bases are the same, or the two legs. All right, so we're going to have two legs that are the same, two base angles that are both 45, and then what's across from the 90-degree angle? What's across from the 90-degree angle? Remember, that is your hypotenuse, okay? So we are going to be finding the side lengths of a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So we already know what the inside angles are. We're looking for the outside lengths. Okay, so in words, a 45, 45, 90 triangle, the length of the hypotenuse is the length of the leg times the square root of 2. Well, we could do that by finding, we could use the Pythagorean theorem to figure that out. Okay, but what we're going to know is that the two legs are the same, and if you multiply the leg times the square root of 2, you will get the hypotenuse. Okay, and always what's across from the 90-degree angle? The hypotenuse. Okay, so making sure that you know what side is which. Now, we've spent a lot of time on proportions, so within those proportions, we should know how to set up a proportion. If we want to write a proportion or a ratio, let's start with a ratio. The ratio of the hypotenuse to the leg, well, the hypotenuse is the square root of 2, and the leg would be 1. Okay, so with that, we are going to use that ratio to solve these. We're going to make proportions because that's what we had been doing last week. All right, it says find the length of the hypotenuse. So I'm going to find the 90-degree angle. The hypotenuse right now is an x. That must mean the other two are the legs. All right, so I'm going to set up a ratio. Hypotenuse to leg, square root of 2 over 1 equals, okay, so I got my ratio of my hypotenuse to leg. Now I'm going to set up a proportion. That means I need hypotenuse on top. This is going to be the triangle that we're working with. And the hypotenuse is 8. And the leg, 8. Not sure where I got 8. I'm sorry. I meant x. X8, you know. X, and the legs are 3. Now we're going to cross multiply and divide. So 1 times x is x. 3 times the square root of 2 is 3 times the square root of 2. Therefore, x, which is the hypotenuse, is equal to 3 times the square root of 2. Okay? If you'd rather use the formula, you can go ahead and use the formula. Make sure that when you do your work, you're showing me your work, whether it's with the formula or with the proportions set up. Okay, I'm going to continue doing proportions though. So it says find the length of each leg. So now we're going to find the lengths of the legs. But this time, what do we have? We have the hypotenuse. Okay, so hypotenuse to leg, square root of 2 over 1. That's always going to be the case. That ratio always works for a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Okay, once you use that ratio, you set up your proportion, and remember, if the hypotenuse is on top, the hypotenuse always stays on top. And then the leg is x. So the leg is on the bottom, so the x goes on the bottom. Now go ahead and cross multiply. 7 square roots of x equals x times the square root of 2. That's just x times the square root of 2. Now, how do we get x alone? Well, the opposite of multiplication would be dividing by the square root of 2. Divide both sides by the square root of 2. The square roots of 2 canceled. Look at that, because 5 divided by 5 is 1. The square root of 2 divided by the square root of 2 also cancels to make 1. So 7 equals x. So your legs are both 7. All right, let's keep going here and switch the page. All right, so we got a checkpoint. We're going to try to find what we're looking for here, except for there's no words. So I have to look at the problem and decide what I'm looking for. So I always go to my 90-degree angle, go across from it. It looks like I'm looking for the hypotenuse. Okay, I set up my proportion, hypotenuse to leg. I know that's square root of 1 over 2, or square root of 2 over 1, excuse me. And then I put the hypotenuse, which is the x on top, and it looks like that leg is 4, so that leg is also 4. I cross multiply. 1 times x is 1x. 4 times the square root of 2 is 4 times the square root of 2. So that is my hypotenuse. Okay, question number 2. 45, 45, 90 triangle again. Looking for my 90 degree. Again, that's x. Looks like I'm looking for the hypotenuse again. Okay, start with your ratio. Square root of 2 over 1. Hypotenuse to leg is the square root of 2 over 1. My hypotenuse in this triangle is an x, and my leg is 5. And if one is 5, the other is 5. Then I would go ahead and cross multiply. 1 times x is 1x. 5 times the square root of 2 is 5 times the square root of 2. If you divide both sides by 1, remember, you don't have to do that because when you divide by 1, you always get the same thing. So x is 5 times the square root of 2. That is your hypotenuse. All right, identify if this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Well, if the angles are the same, and I need to know that all those angles add up to 180, I could do a quick check by using the sum of the angles inside a triangle. All of the angles add up to be how much? We know this one's a 90, right? They should all make 180. 1x plus 1x, those are invisible ones there. Got to remember that they're ones in front of an x if there isn't anything there. That would make 2x. Subtract 90 from both sides. And you would get 2x equals 90. Divide by 2. And x would equal 45. So if one is 45, the other one is 45. So that is an isosceles right triangle. And now it says, oh, that was it. It says, is there enough information to conclude that this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle? It is. We got two 45 angles and we've got a 90-degree angle. So then that means the legs would be the same, right? Okay, so the next one, show that the triangle is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Well, if the bases, or we could call those legs, if the legs are the same, which they are because they're both x, then the base angles are the same. So those are both 45-degree angles. Okay, now we have a 45, 45, 90 triangle. That means we can find the value of x. Okay, so what is the value of x? Oh, it's the legs. So we need to set up our ratio and our proportion. So our ratio is hypotenuse to leg, square root of 2 over 1. And we know in this triangle, the hypotenuse is 5 and the legs are x. We will now cross multiply and solve for x. So 1 times 5 is 5. X times the square root of 2 is x times the square root of 2. Ooh, this is just like the one from the previous page. When we were trying to get x alone, what did we divide by? We divided by the square root of 2. So in this one, guess what? We're going to divide both sides by the square root of 2. And now the answer is going to be funny looking. And no, I do not want you to put it in your calculator. I want you to leave it as 5 divided by the square root of 2. Okay, here we go again. Checkpoint, determine if the triangle is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Well, it is because both of the bases or the legs are the same. The bases are the same. The base angles are the same. So those are both 45-degree angles. Okay, and if they're both 45-degree angles and we have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, we can use the ratio hypotenuse to leg, which is the square root of 2 over 1. The hypotenuse is, oh, look at that, 8. And the leg is x. Cross multiply. 8 times 1 is 8. X times the square root of 2 is x times the square root of 2. Divide both sides by that square root of 2. Yep, you're going to get a funny looking number. It's okay. Fractions are fun. Woo! Fractions are awesome. Okay, so x equals 8 over the square root of 2. And nope, we would not be able to reduce the 8 and the 2 there. So just leave it, okay? Your assignment is to go onto Google Form or go back into your Google Classroom, go into the Google Form and do those problems. Make sure that you upload your work into Google Classroom. There is a video posted in Google Classroom for you if you are struggling with uploading your work. All right, guys, make sure you watch the next video for the week and do that assignment, and we will see or talk to you again soon.